It's time for the Engaged Club, the podcast for club managers and operators that strive to create loyal and connected members, guests, and customers. Here are the two guys with the club management and digital marketing advice you need to realize your club's potential. Jim Hope and Roger Kincaid.
Welcome to another episode of the Engaged Club podcast. I'm Roger Kincaid. I'm the marketing guy at Off Course Golf.
I'm Jim Hope, and I'm the GM of the Derrick Golf and Winter Club. Hello, Roger.
Jim, what are we talking about today? I understand you've got some food and beverage practical advice for us.
Well, yes, I have. We are going to talk about food and beverage. I'm not sure how practical all the advice is going to be, as this is a hot topic every single day at every club manager event, and at every board meeting. And it is managing the member expectations in your food and beverage department. So we're going to have a discussion about that for the next 8 or 9 minutes, and I'm going to try and leave some takeaways for the managers that are listening. But I'm not sure those takeaways are going to work, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to solve your problems, but we're going to have a discussion about what you're facing and maybe give you something that you can use back at your club. But,
this is an interesting one to me, Jim, because, full disclosure, I'm not a member of any private club. I've been to a couple, with you, and I'm always very, very impressed. But then I'll hear stories from some club manager friends of mine who will say, like, "Oh, you can't do anything right. Like, the roast beef is either too rare or too well done. The soup's either too seasoned or too bland. Like, you could just never ever get it right." So, where do you begin trying to manage member expectations?
I think recognizing the fact that you may never get it right. That at the end of the day, you're not going to make all of your members happy with your food and beverage department. That's just the reality of our business. We're not. We can't be everything to all of our constituents, because your constituents want everything from chicken fingers and fries. Then you got ones who want a killer burger that's organic and it's free range beef and they're prepared to pay $25 for a burger. Then you've got, some of your members who still like, can I get liver and onions? It's a club. I want liver and onions and I want French onion soup. And where else can I get Dover sole, than at my club? And then you've got members of your club that want beef tenderloin and foie gras. I mean, so you've got everything from chicken fingers and fries to foie gras. So how do you, without having a 100-page menu or 100-item menu that carries everything for every constituent with every ethnic background as well, how do you do it? So the answer is you can't. I think the answer is the reality of what you have to face is that you're not going to be able to satisfy all your constituents. But what you need to do is find some middle ground, and whatever it is you decide you're going to do, just do it really well. Like you and I have had the pleasure of playing some great golf courses across North America. And I've sat in, grill rooms all over the United States and all over Canada and looked at grill room menus. And those grill rooms are pretty consistent, actually. Those menus are pretty the same. There's a steak sandwich. There's a clubhouse sandwich. There's a burger on there. There's going to be some type of a grilled cheese type of sandwich. You're going to see all of those things. You're going to see some flatbreads. You're going to see that on every menu that you go to at every golf club. But what you want to do, and recognize that's who you are. As a golf club, that's who you are. And then you're going to have, you'll have a kids menu that's got chicken fingers and fries on it. And you'll also have a special, or you'll have a feature that may have beef tenderloin and foie gras. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a middle ground. There's going to be a killer burger. It's going to be one that the members are going to be really proud of. You're going to have a clubhouse sandwich, and maybe it's got, Canadian back bacon on it, and maybe it's got real turkey on it. Maybe you got a fried egg on it. So you're ramping it up a little bit, and you're using a really funky bread instead of just a toasted white bread or a toasted whole grain. So you can put a bit of a spin on it and make it a little unique. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a clubhouse sandwich on your menu, and you're going to have a beef dip on the menu, but it can be sliced, ribeye, and it can have a horseradish aioli that's on it. And the dip could be something other than just a powdered, French beef dip au jus. So you can wrap it up and make it really good, but you're going to have a beef dip on the menu, and that's cool to have. That's okay. It's okay to do that. Mm-hmm. But just do it really well. Do your flatbreads really neat, and don't try and do a ham and pineapple, because you're not going to be able to compete against Pizza Hut, which is their favorite pizza that they eat. So put some neat ingredients on it by recognizing that the audience of your membership, and know that if some of these toppings may be a little exotic for our membership. So you can have a mushroom flatbread, but it's really great mushrooms, and it's got caramelized onions on it, and maybe it's a white sauce that's on it instead of a red, and you've got a really good quality cheese that's melted on it, so that when they have that flatbread, it's like, no, I'm not. This club's not trying to compete against Pizza Hut and Pizza 73, but they're putting out a great flatbread on a homemade focaccia, base or something that is unique, is different, but is just solid. So I don't know if you're going to be able to satisfy everybody. I really don't. But whatever you do, just choose to do it really, really well is what I'm suggesting.
I guess, Jim, that's really sound advice. And the notion of saying that, look, we're going to have, 12 menu items. Like, that's just how this program's going to be. It's going to be like every other club. We're going to have X amount of items on our menu. Let's just make sure that they are all very, very good. That we really put ourselves into everything that we do. But then, I think that there's also this question, Jim, about people are going to complain or people are going to say, well, it's better here, it's better there, or this and that. Like, how do we address the complaint from the member, knowing full well that we're putting our back into everything that we do?
Often you can just have a discussion with the member and say, look, you recognize that we've got a whole bunch of people at the club as members who have a whole different series of wants from the food and beverage department. And the member is going to look at you and go, yes, I understand that. And you can say, look, what we're really trying to do here is we are trying to be everything for everybody. So we're a generalist in our food and beverage department at the club. If I'm looking for Italian, I'm going to an Italian restaurant. If I'm looking for Thai food, I'm going to a Thai restaurant. So when I come to the club, you can have an Italian dish. You might have a Thai dish that you do really well. So you can be a generalist and have a little bit of some ethnicity to your menu. But at the end of the day, you say to the member, but you realize that we are really a generalist and we're trying to meet everything for everybody. So you can say to them, but I'll tell you what we're going to do. I know that you want to see beef tenderloin and foie gras on the menu. If you come to the club next Friday night, I'm going to have the chef make that as a special for that night. So you can address that by some of the themes that you do and some of the specials that you run on your menu, so that you can try and that way then you can focus your kitchen team on that one particular dish or two dishes, so they can do them really well. And often you've got to look at the member and say, you've got to understand that the team that we have employed in the kitchen, as talented as they are, that's not their specialty. The specialty of the team isn't doing what you get when you go to that number one restaurant in your city. That's not who we are. And if that's who we wanted to be, then we would probably have to put a different team in play in the back of the house to be able to provide that to you. So I think you can have a real discussion with your members. They may not leave satisfied, and they may not leave getting liver and onions on the menu, but they may leave with a better understanding that what you're trying to do is to satisfy a majority of the members at the club. One of the things that I've had, I'm not sure I've had success with it, but a discussion that I've had lots of times at my club is that, and it's that value proposition, right? They'll come to you and say, Jim, your burger's $17. I can get a burger down the street for 12. And you can say, that's great, but how is our burger? Our burger's outstanding. Like, it's really, really good. And I say, I'd love to have the discussion with you every single day about how good our burger is, but what the price is, as opposed to having the discussion with you about how bad our burger is and me saying to you, yeah, but it's only $12. Right? I know our burger's not very good, but we're only charging you $12. So the biggest, one of the biggest challenges we face in the club F&B business is that balance between value and quality. And you have to understand the market at your club. There are clubs where you can have a $35 entree on the menu and it's going to sell. And you've got other clubs where you can't put anything on your menu over $19.95. Otherwise, it just won't sell, because that's just the price point that makes your members feel a little uncomfortable. So you need to understand that price point that makes your members feel comfortable to come to the club. And you need to be able to provide a really great quality for that price point at the food cost that your board has approved and the budget that they've approved on an annual basis. So it's a juggling act, right? There's no simple answer to any one of these, but you've got to meet your financial commitments at the club. You've got to give the members the value that they perceive that they should receive at a club, because they are members of a club. And as members of a club, that should be a little cheaper than I can get it down the street, but the quality has to be exactly the same, if not better, than what I get down the street. And then there's that little thing called the food channel. So, yeah. And everybody's really good cooks now, right? Because we watch the food channel. And I watch Top Chef and go, why can't we do it like they do on Top Chef? These guys are given a minute to create a dish, of some items that they've never seen before, and it looks fantastic when they did. And they watch, Guy Ferrari on Diners, Drive-In and Dives, and go, why can't we have a duck confit sandwich on our menu like they have at that place, right? As well as chicken fingers and fries. So, the landscape has changed from the knowledge of our members, and that's a good thing, by the way. I think the members being more knowledgeable about food, more knowledgeable about ingredients, about talking, farm to table, about buying all your ingredients within a 100-mile radius of the club, as much as it may not be real. I think the fact that you're having those discussions is awesome, because it means that they care, and it means that when you produce an organic beef or an organic, burger that's, free range burger and the cow has done nothing nothing but eat grass that has been whisked on by by nuns from the local church and been blessed by the rabbi, they're prepared to pay $22 for it. That's very cool. But having that discussion is a lot of fun. But again, I don't know if there is any answer to any of these other than, I think, use your features and specials to reach the specific constituents. Recognizing that you're going to provide the middle of the road, then maybe have a family night where it's stuff that the kids are going to be able to have, and you're doing a simple flatbread that's, a ham and pineapple for the younger member of your club who's got family, got kids they want to bring to the club, and then you can do a special the next Friday night that's foie gras and prime rib or beef tenderloin for that constituency of your club that want to do that. And you're doing it simple. It's only a couple of dishes, and that your kitchen is going to be able to kill it and knock it out really, really well. I think members will pay for fresh and local and organic. I think that's stuff that they want to have. Now, instead of a beefsteak tomato, they're prepared to pay for a more richer tomato that's got more flavor and maybe a little bit more expensive. I think that's something that they're going to want to have. And theme night it, right? So, have an Italian night or have a beef night, and where you're cooking three great, a really thick pork chop off the barbecue, and you've got a great steak that you got on the barbecue, and maybe you're doing some ribs as well. And depending upon your club, you need to judge that change, right? You need to be able to judge how quickly you want to maybe change a menu and bring it from 42 items down to 35, which is more manageable. But hell, everybody likes that item on the menu. The joke in this business is that you never take an item off, you only add items on, which is how these menus get to be 45 and 47 items. Right. Because of the fact that you're just afraid to take that item off of what's going to happen when you do. And, I face that at clubs all the time. And I think, you need to know the skill set of your team. If you've got a team in play in the back of the house, you can't launch a menu that they can't prepare, because then you're only setting everybody up for failure, and you, especially when you're walking around that lounge and if there's an inconsistency in the food that the members are receiving. So understand the skill set of your team, and you need to build menus around what their skill set is and the facilities that you have. Your kitchen may not be set up to be able to do a great flatbread because you don't have a pizza oven, or your ovens can't get high enough. So don't put a flatbread on the menu then. If you can't do it really well, don't fall to the pressure of everybody else has a flatbread, why don't we? And you can say, because we don't have this piece of equipment. Either go get the piece of equipment or explain the fact that we're not able to do that well. And look at stuff like, beehives. I know clubs that are putting beehives at the club. It's a great learning opportunity for the members. They're not that expensive to set up. They're using that honey in dishes, and it says right on the menu, it's your club's name with honey on the item. They're selling the honey to their members, which is a great branding opportunity because they put the logo on it. It's sitting in the members' counter. And I know clubs that are doing honey, and they're actually paying for the annual operating costs of running those hives based on what they sell to the members. Wow. Gardens are something that clubs have been doing for a long time. And a friend of ours who runs a club in Chicago has brought chickens in, so that they advertise the fact that it's their eggs that are on the menu, and it's their garden, it's their vegetables that are coming out, and they do their whole menu around the fall harvest, and the members may get involved in harvesting the garden, and then they come in and have a dinner that the chef prepares. So don't be afraid to experiment with what you do. Don't be afraid to talk to your members about what it is that you're trying to do, and if you do it, and whatever you do, just do really well. I think at the end of the day, they'll come along with the journey with you.
That's an awesome podcast episode, Jim. And I know it's one that's going to be a lot of people are driving to work right now, driving to the club, listening to this, going, I got to listen to this again with my F&B manager.
And one last takeaway, there's a manager who many Canadians know and who is famous in the United States by Gregg Patterson. He retired out of the beach club in Santa Monica after being there for well over 25 years. Gregg is a guru in our industry. And he did a white paper 15 years ago called Why Your Dining Room Isn't McDonald's. And it's as relevant today as it was when Gregg wrote it 15 or 20 years ago. And if anybody's interested in it, just email me at jhope@derekclub.com, and I'd be happy to forward it to you. And it would be a valuable resource for you to be able to have when you're having discussions with your board.
And another way they can get that white paper, Jim, is they can go to engagedclub.com and find this particular episode. And we'll have a link to that white paper there too for them to be able to read.
Perfect. And don't be afraid to ask for it. Be happy to send it to you.
Thanks very much for listening to this episode of the Engaged Club. If you like it, share it with your friends inside the club business, and absolutely listen to this one again and again, you food and beverage managers out there, and you club managers that have a real keen focus on F&B and some challenges there, because Jim's laid out some really good advice for you. Until next time, thanks for listening.
This has been the Engaged Club podcast with Jim Hope and Roger Kincaid. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. If you like what you heard, share it with your fellow club managers and operators. Until next time, thanks for listening.